I am Debaruti Dash, teaching faculty, Department of Geography, PN Dash College, Polta. Today I'll be talking on National Environmental Policy 2006 for SEM 4 honor students. What is environment? Environment comprises all entities, natural or man made, external to oneself, and their interrelations, ships which provide value now or perhaps in the future to humankind. And economic efficiency refers to the maximization of the welfare across all members of the society given its human, natural, and man made resources, its technology, and the preferences of its members. Environmental Policy 2006 seeks to extend the coverage and fill in the gaps that still exist of present knowledge and accumulated experience. Importance is that while conservation is necessary to secure livelihoods and well-being of all, the most secure basis for conservation is to ensure that people dependent on particular resources obtain better livelihoods from the fact of conservation than from degradation of the resource. Objectives of the National Environment Policy, that is conservation of critical environmental resource, intragenerational equity, livelihood security for the national equity, and integration of environmental concerns in economic and social development. Efficiency in environmental resource use to ensure efficient use of environmental resource in the sense of reduction in their use per unit of economic output. Environmental governance, enhancement of resources for environmental conservation. Now, principles of the policy. Human beings are at the center of sustainable development concern. Now, by definition, we know that sustainable development to being in 1992 Earth Summit, which took place in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. There, it was decided sustainable development is very important, as by definition, sustainable development is whatever resource we are using now, we should keep the same for the future generation, making them also use the resource that we are using today. The right to development is the next principle. Environmental protection is an integral part of the development process. The precautionary approach, economic efficiency. I'm not going to detail because you can go through the slides. I'm just reading what are the most important principles over here. Now, in this, polluter pays is an important one. This is the impact of the acts of production and consumption of one party may be visited on third parties who do not have a direct economic nexus with the original act. Cost minimization is also an important one. Entities with incomparable values, those which are very important, we should need to save them. Equity, legal liability. Trust doctrine, decentralization, integration, environmental standard setting, preventive action, environmental offsetting. Now, if you see that the regulatory reforms, some regulations are very essential, which have been formulated. Now comes the substantive reforms, environment and forest clearance. Here, the environmental impact assessment will continue to be the principal methodology for appraising and reviewing new project. Coastal areas are also taken care of. Living modified organism that knows are priority. Environmentally sensitive zones may be defined as areas with identified environmental resources having incomparable values which require special attention for their conservation. Monitoring of the compliance should be done. Weak enforcement of the environmental compliance is attributed to inadequate technical capabilities, monitoring infrastructure, and trained staff in enforcement institutions. Use of economic principle in environmental decision making. Enhancing and conserving environmental resources. Land degradation should be controlled. Desert ecosystem should also be taken care of. Forest wildlife are also very vital here. Forests plays a multiplicity role in environment, like it recharges the mountain aquifers and sustain the rivers, and they also prevent floods and drought. And wildlife, they are the status of a wildlife in a region is a accurate index of the state of ecological resources and thus the natural resource base of human well-being. Biodiversity, traditional knowledge, and natural heritage, these are also very important, because where there is more biodiversity, that ecology or that ecosystem is very flourishing, it's lively, and the traditional knowledge help the ethnic people or the people who are in that area to survive. And natural heritage, we need to build it. Freshwater resources, they are the mainly river system and the groundwater, they should be kept in a healthy state. Wetlands, they are also quite important now, as Ram defines wetlands as areas of marsh, fen, peat, land or water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh, brackish or salt, including areas of marine water, the depth of which at low tide does not exceed 6 meters. Mountain ecosystem, they are also very vital. We need to protect them too. Coastal resources, there is a diversity in coastal resources. They also play a crucial role in the well-being of human beings. Pollution, and now the pollution is the inevitable generation of waste streams from the production and consumption of anything. So air pollution is there, excessive use of fossil fuels leading to this cause. Water pollution, excessive use of fertilizer, pesticides, and then we are just draining those water into the ponds or the nearby rivers. They're also contaminating it. We are discharging our sewage, which also leading to the water pollution. And when there is a lichet is coming down to the groundwater, it is contaminating the groundwater too. Soil pollution is there, and noise pollution is due to the unnecessary blowing of the horns by the vehicles. Conservation of man-made heritage, this should be done. Climate change is a major problem and the greenhouse gas emission should be reduced. Environmental standards, management systems, certification and indicators, they should be taken into consideration. Eco being done, which addresses the preferences of environmentally conscious consumers rather than ensuring adherence to the national environmental standards. Clean technologies and innovations are always invited. Environmental awareness, education and information, this awareness should be increased that we human beings are surviving because environment is there to take care of us. Partnerships and stakeholder involvement, capacity building should be done. Research and development, this is an important arena. More research should be encouraged in this environmental arena so that development may come into a reality. International cooperation should be availed. Review of the policy should always be done. Process of policy is being done through the consultation with diverse experts and stakeholders. Now let us come to the question, what is environment? What are the objectives of National Environment Policy 2006? What is LMO? What are environmentally sensitive zones? Water polluter pays, define GAG and wetland. I have given the reference from where I have prepared this presentation. With this, I would like to say thank you for your patient hearing.